Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 91 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2019. Thank you all so much for making this a wild and crazy and fun experience. I can't wait to see what next week brings, and we are winding down to our last few days. Our tangle today is called Flontrast. That is a combination between the words flower and contrast. And it is by a lady from the Netherlands named Francijn Brouwer. And this is a really cool, pretty tangle. I will tell you up front, it involves a lot of inking. Therefore, I have chosen to use a 0.3 micron, which is a little bit bigger tip nib, and it's in blue. So just a heads up before I start drawing. All right, I'm also going to tell you that I have trouble with this. I have trouble with the grid. It's one of these grids where you have diamond shapes drawn in, and let me show you what I'm talking about. And see, I've started this over 4 times now because I can't get a good example of what I'm trying to explain from myself. Good enough to share with you guys anyway. That was my problem, basically, how to fit in. We're going to basically make diagonal lines here that are far enough apart for us to cross in the other direction and have diamond shapes that are divided by each of these lines on the flat side, if you will. So in the step out, it doesn't tell you how to approach this. So I am going to try to estimate what I want my diamonds to look like as far as the degree of angle. And I'm going to start like this. And I really struggled with this. But I think next I'm going to do that. I'm afraid to extend that. Like I said, I have started this over. This is the 4th time, and I'm kind of frustrated. Now, I suppose you could put a little dot at the center point right now. But what you're wanting are diamond shapes, and forgive me right here, diamond shapes with this line intersecting through the middle. So here's a little triangle, here's a triangle, put them together, that's a diamond shape, right? Now, you would think that it would be pretty easy to, guesstimate your spot and make your lines parallel with space in between them and have that work. And for some of you, that might work. For me, that did not work out. I sort of have to work out from these diamond shapes, the first diamond shape I make. The children are, the little one and his friend are locked in the bedroom with Simba, our dog, who's a Rottweiler who can take care of himself, thank goodness. And I don't know what they do in there, but they turn the light off every time they take him in there. And then there's a lot of yelling and screaming and playing and lots of shenanigans. So they're in there doing that now, and I'm sitting here laughing and wondering what in the world they're doing to that poor dog. Rottweilers and boys were made for each other. Oh, now see? So you can see where I have my issue. Yeah? I mean, because I would love to have a wonky grid on this, but I can't even get the regular grid to work. I'm going to try the way that I am afraid to try and see if I can get it to work. I'm going to try this with parallel lines, trying to leave some space but not make them too crazy. Like that. And then I'm going to shift your paper now, and where I run into trouble is coming through all of these squares in a straight diagonal line. If you can tell this, you have to hit, wait, yeah, you have to hit the corners. See what I mean? So the diagonal lines going this way are really curvy, which is okay. We're going to find out how that works in just a minute, because this is actually a lot more zen than what I was trying to do. So let's see how this turned out. Well, they're definitely slanted in a particular direction, but this will work for sure here for our demonstration. And no, I'm not going to use this pen, this blue pen on the pattern. All right, so the next step, whatever shape your triangles here are in, because you can also zigzag and then put the zigzags opposite, is another way to set this up. So the next step is to put little flower petals, and you know that made me a fan of this pattern right off. You know how I am about the flower stuff. And if this is your first time here, welcome, and get used to the flower stuff. It comes up a lot. Whoa. All right, and you want to do one of these with a little petal in each one of these little sections, yeah? So just keep going. Each section that comes to a point, put a little petal in there. When you run out of sections, you're done. Where it comes to a point, add in your little petals. See, this part is much easier than setting up the grid for me. This might work. Let's find out. Now, word of caution, you don't want your flowers to be too big. I already played with that. It doesn't really work out because these are so close. However, oops, sorry, I'm talking and not zenning, not focusing on my strokes. That said, the bigger they are, the closer you make them to touching, the less inking you're going to have. And I'm about to show you why that is. Can you guys hear those kids screaming in there? And you know, I just have to laugh because Simba begs for them to play with him like this. I do not know what shenanigans are going on, but he thinks boys are awesome. Except they're in there screaming like little girls. And that's insulting to girls. Shame on me. All right. So this is where we're going with this in this second step, okay? Just going to each section where it comes to a point and adding a little petal shape in there. Now don't worry, I'm going to try out my little petal enhancer here in a few minutes. Let's see how that goes. But we're going to be inking half of this, sort of like if y'all are familiar with the Tangle Stirkles. It's a Zentangle original pattern. It sort of alternates sections, black and white, and we're going to do something similar to that. And whoops, I added in some sections there. And I would invite you to open your mind up to possibilities here, because the video I saw on Tangled Dream here on YouTube had a really interesting take on varying this and on the coloring, and I was really interested. So don't have any preconceived notions. Try what you want to try, and if you want to know if something will look good, check it out. I encourage it. All right. So this is basically what we have after we finished. This part was very nice and zenful. Once I had the structure up, it works pretty well. And I think I'll stop freaking out about having exact straight lines here. Okay. Now, the next section is the inking, and you're basically going to be inking every other diagonal row. And so let me start by doing this section. and I will show you what I mean. And this is why I wanted a slightly larger pen. I did not want to feel I needed to rush this, but I also did not want to be here all day. So let's just take our time. If you have a 03 or a 05, that's probably perfect. Now if you're working in a tiny space, we'll see how we do when we come to the pattern. Then you might enjoy a smaller nibbed pen like the 01. But let's see how it goes. And this is where those of us who don't have patience need to breathe, and I include myself in this category. Breathe, slow down as I am rushing, and remember that laying the ink down can be just as enjoyable as drawing the lines if you will allow yourself to see it that way. I truly believe that attitude is the most important factor in whether you succeed or fail. And attitude makes all the difference in the world. So I am trying to shift my attitude about some things that really irritate me, honestly, and trying to find some zen for myself in those activities instead of allowing myself to become frustrated, instead of allowing my frustrations to control me. I'm trying to reach for that next level where I'm in control of my frustrations, and I can take my frustrations and turn them into zenful things. And if I can manage it, which I do not promise, I tend to get really stressed out really fast and early, and when things go wrong. And that is something I'm working on. All right, so this is one part. Now, what about these next columns? Well, in these, we're going to black the flower petals. Yeah. Simba's over here panting like crazy because they wore him out, which is good. I want him tired. That way he sleeps and doesn't want to play with me at 3 a.m. That's always appreciated. Karma, Simba says hi. All right. And by the way, Lynn Gotham, I saw your one of your progress sheets on Instagram or Facebook. I can't remember where, but it was beautiful. So I loved it. I'm so glad you posted. You guys keep tagging me in your posts, and I think they will show up. There's something you can do that will make them show up in my feed. Not in my feed, but there's a place on my profile where it will show up. I'm not sure what you call that. It's the little icon with the, looks like a clipboard with a face on it or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway. So on opposite sides, when you don't ink the middle part, you're going to ink the flower petals like this. Yeah? So a lot of inking, and if you can go into it with a pen that flows nicely and doesn't make you scritch and go over things 1,000 times, that will help you out a lot. I knew this pen was nice and new, so I wasn't going to have any problems with it. Anyway, so you alternate the blacking. That's how this is similar to the Tangle Stirkles. And on each consecutive or every other row, you switch off between the background and blacking the flowers. Now, a couple of suggestions for those who don't think they can handle this much inking. Buck up, people, I got an idea for you. Okay, So my thought for that is, let's see, we'll ink these so it'll be over here, is to try putting in vertical lines really lightly, maybe with like a 0.1 or a 0.05 or something like that. They do make those, but you have to search for them. And I am working on my Amazon influencer page so that y'all can find all the stuff I use and recommend, because there's a lot of stuff. And I've spent several years now educating myself about pens and inks and trying different things and learning different things just by trial and error. And I am an Amazon girl, so I will be trying to. Okay, so this is one way that you can do this. And then on the flower petals, you can either do them straight across like this, or alternately, I have been wanting to try something like fanned out like this from the center on the alternate things and see what kind of a flare that gives it. Now on the YouTube channel I was talking about, she alternated the black and white from triangle to triangle, and that gave it a really different look. So I really encourage you to try different things. I'm going to calm down about my grid. Thank you for coming with me on that ride. And let's get the pattern for today and see what we can do with it. You know, I made a blog post earlier today, and at the tirelesstangler.com on my blog, about what a wonderful experience this has been with y'all and how much I have grown and enjoyed this journey because y'all have been along for the ride, and that makes it really meaningful to me, and I just appreciate everyone so much. So I just wanted to thank you, and if you want to read that post, www.thetirelesstangler.com. Dakota says, don't forget to like and subscribe. And comment. Comments are very important. They give me warm, fuzzy feelings every day, and I appreciate them very, very much. Do I want a wonky grid? Should I try that? I really want to. You know I do, but I didn't practice one. Holy cow, guys, I'm doing it. Wonky grid. Here I come, wonky grid. All right, this is my wonky grid. And see, we're going for square. Nope, we're not. These are my center. See, I just shouldn't have done that, should I? These are my center lines. So what I need to do is figure out the angle I want my triangles. Well, I don't know how this is going to turn out. We're going to enjoy the ride. Okay. This is going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be interesting. All right, so here's our next one. And here we go. For better or worse, we're going to put in our petal shapes. I am trying to not lose my cool with the kid who is playing with the dog. He's playing with the dog, so I don't really want to lose my cool. They are making a whole lot of noise. Excuse me. Now you can see what happens if you play around with your grid a little bit. You'll have some petals that are larger than the other, and that's perfectly fine. But you can see what I mean by if you can get these close together, you'll have a lot less inking. I think someone needs attention. And it's not the dog. So don't worry about where you're putting your petal shapes. Just aim for each corner. And every corner you come to, draw in your petal shape. I think I was talking about just losing yourself in creating these little petal shapes. And just aim for each corner. Don't worry about the ones next to them. Just enjoy the act of drawing them in. See how nice and round you can make them. How pretty they are. Think about laughing and knowing that I am wanting to put my little petal enhancer in here, because that's going to make me smile. And I'm not saying you're not going to get one before we're done today, but just enjoy what you're doing. Let's see. So these are going to be pretty close on. Oops. And I'm just going to, this one is a little problematic. I think I'm going to stick an extra one in that. We'll just see what happens. It'll be fun. And I think I'll put some tips in. Like that here. I do have to engage my brain a little bit for this part. So, pretty close. Now, I definitely want to ink this row where all of the flowers are pushed close together. Or I could do this one, but I think this one will be easier. So that's where I'm going to start. Let's see how I do. Those darn cats. So thank y'all so much for your comments. Those are awesome. I really appreciate the ones who shared about the type of artist that you are. I think that's a great conversation because it allows people to see their own attitude from someone else's perspective. And whether you're a great artist or not, it doesn't matter. What we need to achieve here is whoops, I went over the line, didn't I? We're going to pretend that's a flower petal on the other side. But what we're trying to achieve here is a more confident artist, whatever you decide your art role is going to be. And if you're not great at drawing things yourself, which I truly believed of myself when I started this about 3.5 years ago, but it helped me in so many ways that I just couldn't stop. I mean, it literally helped save my life, pulled me out of depression when a young man I loved very much took his life, and helped me to get up in the morning and have something maybe not constructive, but something that I could focus on, that I could affect its beauty and I could affect its outcome. And my journey started in that way, where I came so broken in so many ways. And it's really been a blessing, I have to say. I'm very, very grateful that I came to Zentangle. I have said it so many times that it saved my life. I believe it has. It has given me a different perspective, a new take on things. It has given me more confidence, more self-esteem, and I know that sounds ridiculous and funny, but it is the truth. I never would have started, well, I might have started blogging, but I never would have done the things that I've done since if it had not been for that that impetus, that understanding. I really, really, really want to fan these petals out. Let's see. Well, I guess if it doesn't look good, I can then black them, can't I? Haha. I'm just going to let myself go here. See what they look like when I'm done. And if I have to fix them, that's what blacking is for. Start inking. See, I like those. I think they're pretty. Question is, will they work with the black background on the other side? Yep, that's right. It's I think I got a little confused here. Definitely got a little confused here. So these will be fanned. Yeah, and then this will be blacked. Okay, that makes sense. I do like the idea of using hatch marks instead of blacking. It would give this a much lighter, airier look. This would be pretty if you added just little spots of color, like in the middle of your flowers, or if you alternated color in the place of blacking. That would be interesting. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this, lots of different possibilities. So I am working on a way on my website that y'all can upload your art so that we can share it within our community. And so as soon as I get that set up, we will do that, and we'll try to have a dedicated section for this project in there. Just a few more. And we didn't talk about shading, but other than putting some in the midst, whoops, I did not mean to do that. So I'm just going to stop and pretend I didn't. And I don't know what I'm doing down here. We're going to find out. Well, I don't hate that, actually. I really don't. So let me go give treatment to the other side of this. Let's see. And I'll take away from that. And that. Well, it's not exactly the pattern, but it is the pattern, both. And to make myself really, really happy, because I just can't stand it, I'm going to put because I just think it makes it look so pretty. I know you guys know this about me. I'm a little crazy about the petals, but trust me. Just trust me. Those just can make you. It just finishes it off so nice. And see, we can just pretend that's what that was. Double bonus. All right, that is very pretty. I really like it. I really do. What do you guys think? Let me know in comments. And despite this little snafu over here in the corner, I really like the outcome. I don't think I'm going to shade it. I might put, let's try putting just a tiny bit of graphite. And I'm just sort of adding it in little circles. Sort of like I do with colored pencil. I think I'm a little skewed by my colored pencil drawing. But that's where I started. I learned a lot about colored pencils before I ever came to Zentangle. Okay, I'm not gonna say this doesn't help.
Is your video done?
Almost, baby. I'm shading it right now. All the good stuff is done, baby. So, my friends, Coda and Mar, thank you for liking and subscribing and for all of the stuff that y'all have done for us. For your well wishes. And this is day 91.